minutes, we're going to be having a break. So allow me to welcome the next panel right here, and the moderator is Dr. Wilson Songa. So you can stand by. So I want to begin by inviting Elizabeth Ipo from NICE. Please do come on stage. Please, let's appreciate her. And this amazing panel is going to be discussing about the urban food systems. So following Miss Elizabeth is Gladwell Cheriot from the Nairobi City County. Let's appreciate her while she walks on stage. And that's followed by Miss Rebecca Wanjiro from FAO, you know how you want to pronounce it. Let's appreciate her while they walk on stage. Last but not least, a representative from Kisumu County Government, that Mr. Eric Ogado. Please do come on stage. And this amazing session will be moderated by Dr. Wilson Songa. Let's appreciate her. Please do know that we only have 28 minutes. So let's try it.
Well, we have 20 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important session in my view, considering that our situation now, as it is, revolution is promoting urbanization. And as a country, we are at about 30% of urbanization and growing at 4.3%. So really, this is something that we must be able to appreciate and start planning now, coming up with the strategies. And as the good governor said, these strategies must be implemented. So with me here, I have a very Let me introduce my team here. I'm going to start with Eric Ogado, who is a food systems focal point and agriculture value chains development specialist in the county government of Kisumu. Welcome, Eric. Next to Eric is Gladwell Cheriot. Gladwell Cheriot is the current chief officer of food, agriculture and natural resources, Nairobi City County Government. He is heading the departments of crops, forestry, livestock, fisheries, veterinary services, and food systems. There lies the mandate, she has the mandate of ensuring food secure county through promotion of urban agriculture, attaining a resilient urban food system, animal control and welfare, and environment conservation through tree growing. On governance, Madam Gladwell has spearheaded through various partnerships the implementation of the Nairobi City County Government Food System Strategy and reviewing of the Nairobi City County Government Urban Agriculture. Agriculture, livestock, and fisheries policy. Our passion on achieving food safety is unmatched, ensuring that food is safe for consumption for the residents of Nairobi, and has been a driving force. I think she has more than a mouthful. Next to her is Elizabeth Ipo, the driver of the NICE project. Elizabeth Ipo is currently the county project manager, nutrition and city ecosystems in Kenya, working with the Sustainable Agriculture Foundation that we were introduced to yesterday. She has a background in food nutrition and dietetics, years of experience in implementing food security, nutrition and livelihoods, and food system projects across Kenya, leading in the inclusion of women, youth, social transformation agenda. She is currently leading the implementation of the NICE project. And the information she's collecting, no doubt, is going to be very informative as we go forward in planning for urban food systems. to me here is Rebecca. Rebecca works with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, and her area of expertise is sustainable urban food systems analysis, inclusive food governance, participatory multi-stakeholder engagement, food loss, and waste. Her bio is long, but I'll cut it short. Rebecca is a food system specialist with FAO, supporting cities and local governments in developing sustainable and resilient urban food systems. So I'll move straight to the questions. And given the facts that we are growing at a rate of 4.3%, we are now at about 30% rate of urbanization. I think probably one of the highest in Africa as we speak. We are going to have challenges, and we are also going to have opportunities. We want to hear how we will address these challenges and how we will make use of the opportunities that may arise. I'm very happy also with this conference in the context of how they have given a lot of emphasis on women and youth. If we are going to succeed in food systems, women and youth must be on the driving seat. And I would like to hear how you have placed them in this particular session. So, the first question goes to Margaret Cheruiyot of Nairobi City County. How can cities be involved in reducing food loss and waste across the urban food chain? What role do urban-rural linkages play in achieving sustainable urban food systems? You'll appreciate that in the urban food systems, we have to work with all the key stakeholders that are there. We don't want to leave anybody out.
Thank you so much, moderator. Thank you for the question. This is Nairobi County. Actually, what we are looking at is food chain issues in terms of food loss and the linkages you have asked for. But I want to really talk about our city or cities in Kenya. That the cities that we have in Kenya form is a central food system, because that is where food is being consumed, distributed, and even innovations and governance is done at the cities. The truth of the matter, on your question, is that we use a lot of food, right from harvesting to the time of consumption. Why we use a lot of food is because we have several strategies that have not been tapped on. One of them is consumer awareness. We realize that how we consume our food, at that point we use food. Because, like for example, even here in Pan-Africa, when we are eating our food, how much are we serving on our table, on our plates? Do you realize that that is how you use your food? Because sometimes, I had an example at Twins Hotel. The people who come earlier, they overserve. The people who come later, they miss food. And the food that has been left on the table is a loss. And the statistics has it that every person in Kenya loses around 99.1 kilos of food every year. And so, multiplied by the population that we have. So what I'm going to say is, can we serve what you are able to eat? At the same time, the other consumer awareness that you need to know is what the season has for you. So that you may be also able to buy what is in plenty and cheaper and be able to consume when it is fresh, and you are not going to use food that has been transported and gotten to be perishable on the way. The perishable food spoiled on the way. The other bit of it is the transport sector. How are we doing the logistics of transporting our food from the rural areas or from the farmer to the markets. That is also another issue. How long do our tomatoes take from the farm to the market before we buy? And at the point of buying, how good is the tomatoes you are buying? That's an example. The other bit is that the market, the vendors also lose a lot of food because by the time they receive that food, it is already perishable. They lose money and we lose food at the same time. So we have those as one of them. The other part is we need to advance circular food economics. What am I trying to say? Such that whatever thing that we have lost, can we do a value addition? We can make briquettes, we can make animal feed, we can do other things. We can also dry sunset the food, like leafy vegetables, for example. We can dry sun that during the solar, keep it for another time to be used. The other thing is we can process the foods that we have in extra. We can process them to be used, but now here, there is a controversy. And this is something we need also to give awareness to our consumers. The controversy here is we normally, through nutrition, we discourage processed food. Through food loss saving, we say let us process food. So we need to come with something amicable to be able to understand what is this that is processed that we are not allowed to take. And why are we saying also we need to do value addition to the food that we have? So at what point is it safe for us? So those are some of the things. The other thing is that, I'm sorry, I know I have a lot. I wish we could have been given 1 hour. But what I can conclude, let me make a conclusion.
What's wrong? Why are you calling?
My moderator. We have so much. And I can say this, Dr. The national government here is a central government for all of us as a county, as counties. What we are sure of, when the national government is doing policies, we are here as county governments to implement. And so we should be at the core and the center, as we are today, of the mandates that we are given to really make food systems succeed. Because after the policies, we need to implement. So on conclusion, cities act as champions of food system transformation through inclusive policies, multi-sectoral partnerships, infrastructure, innovations, and awareness creation. The other thing, in transformation of food waste into resources, it strengthens climate resilience, food equity, and sustainable development. Also, finally, is that most of our markets do not have refrigeration. We don't have refrigeration in our markets. As a county, we have started at that innovation at the City Park Market. We have put there a plant for refrigeration of the market. But we need to expand this to other markets and also develop markets nearer to the citizens so that people do not have to walk all the way to the main market. In the process, some become lazy to walk, some of them also get to be spoiled on the way. Thank you.
Good. Can we move on to Kisumu County? And we want just to hear what Eric, I just want you to mention how, what kind of intervention you are putting in place to make use of climate change technologies while addressing the urban food system resilience. Considering yourself very well placed in a more or less rural setting, I think you have some advantages to that extent.
Thank you so much. So, in a bid to address the urban resilience with respect to climate change, what are some of the climate interventions? One of the things we do in Kisumu and also recommended for other cities is the issue of urban agriculture. The role of urban agriculture in provision in food security cannot be overemphasized. But urban citizens rely on rural areas for food production. So, and in the event that there are climatic shocks, like drought and the rural areas that the urban residents are dependent on for their food supply, in case that supply is affected, by promoting urban agriculture, then at least the food production from the urban areas stands in the gap. One other important practice is urban greening, promoting urban green spaces within the urban areas. Green spaces, especially growing of trees, help in some carbon sequestration, that is absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. When that happens, then we reduce the greenhouse gases that are responsible for climate change. And green spaces, the health benefits of green spaces, medical doctors will tell you that the hormone responsible for stress, that is the hormone cortisol, those who interact more with green spaces have control levels of that hormone in their saliva. And by promoting green spaces within the urban areas, we increase the resilience of the urban residents. Another important intervention is sustainable mobility. If we travel to developed countries, and Kisumu is also trying to do it, is it possible that we have streets with delineated lanes for bikes, for pedestrians? This really improves and encourages residents to use motorbikes, to use bicycles, and also to walk to short distance spaces. When we do this, we reduce the use of biofuels that are responsible for emission of greenhouse gases. So some of these interventions, other countries, if you go to a city like Cape Town or Amsterdam, you'll find designated lanes for public transport. When there are designated lanes for public transport, electric buses, it encourages members of the public to use public transport as opposed to private cars. When all this is done, again, the overall effect is to reduce the carbon emissions that comes with using cars. Solarization of our cities, public institutions like hospitals, schools, and even government offices. If we can install solar, which is a great source of energy in our cities, is a climate smart intervention that we can also promote. Gladwell, my fellow panelists, talked about circular economy. If we can recycle our wastes are responsible for the release of methane gas. Methane gas is a greenhouse gas that is responsible for, again, climate change. So when we practice circular economy, not only are we creating great jobs, not only are we creating job opportunities, but we are also helping to mitigate the issue of climate change. Then public awareness and sensitization on behavioral change is a very important intervention in how we relate with our wastes. Do we do waste segregation as the house? The rivers and the streams that go through our cities, how do we interact with? And lastly, it is very important that for cities that have streams and rivers, we should do what we call meta-restorations, ecosystem restoration of these rivers. A plant like bamboo naturally purifies because it's a plant that has absorbed metals from some of these rivers. It's a natural purifier for waters. So in a